Most people who marry into the British royal family spend their first few years quietly learning the choreography. Where to stand, when to step back, how to let the crown do the talking. Meghan Markle skipped that class entirely and wrote her own syllabus, one that put her at the center of every red carpet and every camera angle she could reach. Welcome to the Star Report, where today we break down every painfully awkward red carpet moment that Meghan Markle couldn't smile her way out of. The Red Carpet Morocco, 2019. A red carpet was laid out for Prince Harry to walk during an official Guard of Honor inspection. Standard protocol, clean, straightforward. The prince walks. The cameras capture it. Everyone goes home. Meghan had a different plan. She moved to attach herself to Harry's side, positioning for the walk as though the carpet belonged to both of them. A staff member intercepted her mid-stride and redirected her off the carpet entirely. The face told the whole story. Stiff jaw, flat eyes. A quick exchange with the staffer that changed absolutely nothing. She ended up walking alongside the carpet, not on it, like someone who showed up to a VIP section and got pointed toward general admission. The speculation was immediate. Red carpets are for royals, and she didn't qualify. Whether that was the exact instruction or not, the visual was devastating. Harry walked the line solo while she trudged beside it, pretending the arrangement was fine while her expression screamed otherwise. And that instinct to plant herself where she wasn't invited followed her straight back to London. The Private Room, March 2019. The 50th anniversary celebration of Charles becoming Prince of Wales. Buckingham Palace hosted a formal reception with senior royals and high-profile guests. Before the main event, Queen Elizabeth, Charles, and William were scheduled to view the investiture items in a private room. Only they and their spouses were permitted inside. Every other guest received clear instructions to wait in a separate room. Harry and Meghan ignored the instructions completely. Video footage showed them already positioned near the entrance before the Queen even arrived. They hadn't wandered in by accident. They'd pushed ahead of everyone else. Charles told them directly, senior royals only. They still didn't move. It took palace aides and a security guard stepping in to physically escort them away from the Queen and out of the room. The sheer nerve of being explicitly told you aren't allowed somewhere by the heir to the throne in Buckingham Palace and still refusing to budge until security physically intervened was breathtaking. This wasn't a gray area. This was a locked door they tried to pry open with the entire senior royal family watching. And the palace filed it away with interest for later. And the palace wasn't the only institution that showed them the door that year. The birthday party. Shortly after the wedding, Harry and Meghan were invited to Prince Charles's birthday celebration. It should have been a simple family gathering. Show up, smile, stay for the candles, leave with dignity intact. Meghan couldn't even manage that. According to reports, Camilla overheard Meghan saying she just wanted to go home, not whispering it to Harry, not discreetly texting an aide, saying it out loud. Within earshot of the hostess, at the hostess's husband's birthday, Camilla relayed the comment to Charles, and Charles, rather than letting the negative energy fester through the rest of his own celebration, made a decision. He had them escorted out. Your car is waiting outside. It is time to leave. That was it. A few quick goodbyes, and they were gone. The image of being walked out of your father-in-law's birthday party because you couldn't keep your misery to yourself for 2 hours was devastating. Most people who hate a party just fake it until the cake's been cut. Meghan broadcast her contempt so loudly that the guest of honor personally arranged her exit. And if she couldn't survive a family birthday, the wardrobe disasters she was accumulating in public were about to get even harder to sit through. The caramel coat. The caramel coat became an instant meme because it looked like the garment was wearing Meghan instead of the other way around. Fans called it the body-swamping caramel blanket. And honestly, that was generous. The fit was enormous. She vanished inside it. The shape suggested a sleeping bag more than outerwear, and the dull caramel shade drained every ounce of color from her face. She blended into the pavement. There was no silhouette, no structure, just yards of heavy fabric hanging off her frame with zero tailoring in sight. What could have been an elegant, understated appearance turned into the visual equivalent of someone borrowing a stranger's winter coat during a fire drill. The baffling refusal to have anything properly fitted remained the great mystery of her wardrobe, and it only got more confusing when she overcorrected in the opposite direction. The gray squeeze. The fitted gray Roland Mouret dress had the bones of a winner. Sleek, minimal, classic. But when the Duchess put it on, every seam fought for its life. The dress was clearly a size too small. Fabric pulled visibly across her chest and sleeves, straining at every stress point. One commenter compared the strapless bra situation to getting a mammogram, and the image stuck because it was genuinely hard to unsee. Even her supporters admitted the tailoring destroyed what could have been a clean victory. The lines were supposed to be sharp and architectural. Instead, they buckled and warped under the tension. She went from drowning in fabric to being strangled by it with absolutely no middle ground. And the refusal to find that middle ground followed her to events where the stakes were far higher than a photo op. The Invictus Romper. The Invictus Games Veterans Parade honored wounded soldiers. This was a ceremony. Uniforms, formations, gravity. Meghan rolled up in a beige linen romper, an oversized blazer, and casual slip-on sandals. Bare legs, floppy slides, shorts. The disconnect was staggering. She was supposed to be supporting veterans who'd sacrificed everything, and she dressed like she was heading to a Saturday farmer's market. Critics called it grotesquely inappropriate, and they weren't exaggerating. The casual energy clashed violently with the solemnity of the event. People joked about the brunchcore aesthetic, but underneath the jokes, the real issue was obvious. She didn't dress for the veterans. She didn't dress for the occasion. She dressed for herself, same as always. And it wasn't even the only time she pulled this at an Invictus event. The Dusseldorf halter. The Invictus Games in Dusseldorf gave her another shot at getting it right. She showed up in a beige halter sweater and pleated trousers that looked more yoga studio adjacent than anything resembling an event honoring veterans. The halter top only emphasized her short torso, chopping her silhouette at the worst possible breakpoint. The trousers drowned her frame completely, pooling at the ankles in that familiar, untailored way that followed her like a curse. The neutral palette flattened the entire look into beige wallpaper. Critics pointed out the same tone deafness that plagued the romper. This was a ceremony for people who bled for their country, and she arrived looking like she'd just left a wellness retreat. Stylish in theory, embarrassing in execution. And the same blankness in her wardrobe approach followed her halfway across the world to a school full of children. The school visit. During her visit to Nigeria, Meghan showed up at a children's school wearing a backless peach silk dress. The kind of look that belonged at a beachside wedding rehearsal dinner, not in a classroom full of kids. The dress was also several inches too long, dragging across the grass like it was searching for a tailor it would never find. The color washed her out. The cut exposed way too much for the setting. It was a complete mismatch of occasion and outfit, the wardrobe equivalent of bringing a cocktail shaker to a PTA meeting. A school visit in a foreign country called for warmth, approachability, and a basic understanding of the audience. She delivered a gown meant for someone else's evening event. But the Nigeria wardrobe wasn't done embarrassing her yet. The zebra print. On the same so-called royal tour, Meghan debuted a strapless zebra print dress with a front cutout that had the internet frozen mid-scroll. This was a formal visit in a culturally conservative country. The neckline screamed nightclub. The cutout demanded attention in all the wrong ways. Critics flagged it immediately as inappropriate for both the event and the setting, pointing out that she was dressing for maximum personal visibility instead of respecting her hosts. Bold and stylish were clearly the goals. Forced and out of place were the results. She tried to make a statement and ended up making people uncomfortable, a pattern that crossed oceans and repeated itself almost identically in South America. The Colombia dress. During her visit to Colombia, Meghan wore a sleeveless patterned sheath dress that belonged at an evening cocktail reception. She wore it to greet officials and students. The ultra-thin straps and bare shoulders made the meet and greets visually awkward, especially in a setting where basic modesty was standard diplomatic etiquette. Even her supporters conceded it looked too intimate for the occasion. The print was interesting enough, but the cut and context collided so hard that the outfit became a case study in tone deafness. She kept dressing like every appearance was her personal fashion show, completely detached from the cultural temperature of the room. But at least those outfits were recognizable colors. Her next look couldn't even commit to that. The shirt dress. This button-down shirt dress could have been an easy, casual win if not for the color, and that's being extremely polite about the color. Critics compared the muddy brown tone to newborn baby diarrhea, and once you read that, you couldn't look at the outfit without seeing it. The flimsy belt didn't rescue anything. Commenters called it one of those freebie belts that come with the dress that nobody in their right mind actually wears. It bunched the fabric awkwardly at the waist without creating any real shape, turning a potential relaxed silhouette into something that just hung there, limp and defeated. The stiff collar, paired with the heavy fabric, washed her out completely. But the strangest detail was that the dress appeared to be a different color in every single photograph. Brown in one shot, olive in another, muddy gray in a third. It was like the garment itself was trying to escape its own identity. The overall effect was shapeless and flat, and the color confusion only added to the impression of a look that nobody, including the dress, had fully committed to. And somewhere in this era, she decided the solution to all her wardrobe problems was to just wear more fabric. The white avalanche. This all-white outfit looked less like a statement and more like a laundry experiment that spiraled out of control. Oversized trousers, a loose shirt, a heavy draped shawl, every layer competed for dominance. None of them won. The flat color drained her complexion, and the shapeless layering erased her figure so thoroughly she could have been anyone underneath it all. One commenter said she looked like she wrapped herself in hotel sheets and called it fashion, which was brutal and accurate in equal measure. The irony cut deep. She once complained publicly that royal rules didn't allow her to wear colors. Then she left, gained full wardrobe freedom, and drowned herself in solid white. The fabric wars were escalating, and the wrinkled phase was about to hit critical mass. The picnic cloth, this strapless olive romper, earned the nickname Diaper Capri almost instantly, and the name fit better than the garment ever did. Wrinkled fabric bunched in all the wrong places, creating an impression somewhere between a crumpled picnic blanket and a forgotten clearance rack find. She paired it with an oversized hat that added confusion rather than style and flat sandals that anchored the look firmly in. Poolside accident territory. The whole ensemble aimed for effortless. It landed on disheveled. The proportions were off. The textures were wrong. And the hat made her look like she was hiding from the outfit she'd already committed to wearing in public. But if the picnic cloth was a quiet disaster, the next look was a loud, aggressive, two-front battle with itself. The closet war. A mango sleeveless shirt that refused to stay buttoned up. A sequin floral skirt that looked rescued from the back of someone's grandmother's closet. Together, in public, on camera. The combination made absolutely zero sense. Business casual crashed headfirst into disco garden party, and neither survived the impact. The stiff collar clashed with the sparkly fabric. The hemline cut her legs at the worst possible point. The two pieces looked like they came from different decades, and had violently different opinions about who should be running the outfit. Buttons strained. Sequins sparkled in protest. Every angle produced a new problem. It was chaos stitched together, and it proved that her wardrobe issues weren't limited to fit or color. Sometimes the entire concept was broken before she even walked out the door, but the outfits were just the visible symptom. Behind closed doors, the entitlement was even worse. The restaurant. This one came straight from Michael Azzolina, a well-known maitre d' who'd worked at several Michelin-starred restaurants. In his book, he recalled exactly what happened when Meghan's team tried to get a table at Loku in 2017. Her handler approached the front and demanded a private table. The reason? She was dating a prince. Azzolina calmly explained that no private table was available. The handler doubled down, reminded him that the guest was dating Prince Harry, would soon be a duchess. Deserved special treatment. His first instinct was to laugh. Nobody in the restaurant cared. Not the host, not the staff, not the other guests at the bar. Powerful people walked through that restaurant every single day, and a C-list actress name-dropping a boyfriend she hadn't married yet didn't register. During the entire exchange, Meghan reportedly stayed silent and distant. Azzolina later described her as aloof and uninterested, which was a generous reading of someone whose handler just got publicly shut down. She thought dropping royal proximity would part the seas. It didn't part the hostess stand. The entitlement was the quiet kind, the kind that sends someone else to do the demanding while you stand 3 feet away pretending you're above it all. And that instinct to expect special treatment just for showing up, it followed her onto every carpet she ever walked. The Gala Lingerer, the variety power of women gala, was supposed to be her triumphant return to the Hollywood carpet circuit. She treated the photo op section like a personal studio session. Meghan planted herself in the frame and simply refused to move. The smile locked into place, the chin tilted, the poses cycled, and the line of actual A-listers behind her backed up. A PR handler had to physically step into the frame, extend a hand, and usher her along because her relentless posing had gridlocked the entire carpet. She didn't flinch, didn't acknowledge the handler's outstretched arm, kept right on smiling like the gesture didn't exist. For a fraction of a second, you caught the jaw tighten when the handler's hand entered her peripheral vision. Then the grin snapped right back on. She treated the professional doing her job like background noise, an obstacle between her and 5 more seconds of flashbulbs. The photographers had already stopped shooting. You could see it in the rhythm of the flashes. They'd moved on to the next arrival, but Meghan kept posing into the dead air, smiling at cameras that had already found someone else. She eventually moved, but only after the handler made it physically unavoidable. The inability to read that the room had moved on was the most revealing part. She didn't just want the spotlight. She needed it to validate something, and when the carpet tried to rotate her out, she white-knuckled it. The see-through skirt. Royal tours run on meticulous planning, strict protocol, and an unspoken rule that your wardrobe will be photographed from every conceivable angle and every lighting condition known to man. During the 2018 Australia tour, Meghan stepped out in a pleated blue midi skirt that nobody vetted under sunlight. The moment natural light hit the fabric, the entire skirt went transparent. Completely, globally, in front of the international press pool. She squatted down to greet the crowds, and the paparazzi got a view that Kensington Palace's PR team absolutely did not sign off on. The courtiers backstage probably aged 10 years in 10 seconds. This wasn't a daring fashion risk. It was a sloppy, careless mistake made by someone who either didn't check her outfit in front of a lamp or did check and didn't care. Either option was damning. One suggested incompetence. The other suggested something worse. The entire news cycle of the tour got hijacked by the wardrobe malfunction, burying whatever diplomatic goodwill the appearance was supposed to generate. She spent the rest of the walkabout waving and smiling, seemingly unbothered, while royal aides behind the barricades likely contemplated career changes. And you'd think a globally broadcast wardrobe malfunction would inspire a more careful approach. It inspired the opposite. The Dior caftan. A royal tour of Morocco demanded cultural respect, diplomatic elegance, and an outfit that said, "I prepared for this." Meghan arrived in a $100,000 custom beige Dior caftan that said absolutely none of those things. The price tag was staggering. The execution was worse. The fabric pooled around her in heavy, shapeless drapes that consumed her frame entirely. Every gesture looked clumsy because the sleeves swallowed her arms. Every step looked labored because the hem fought the floor. The beige color washed her out so completely that she looked like she was dissolving into the backdrop. She clutched Harry's arm with that signature grip, steering him through the reception while the cameras hunted for a flattering angle that didn't exist. Reports from the event noted that she barged ahead of Harry to greet the King of Morocco, an etiquette blunder so brazen that reporters used the word repugnant in their coverage. $100,000 to look both unpolished and disrespectful was a feat of anti-fashion that deserved its own wing in a museum. But disrespecting a foreign head of state was amateur hour compared to what she allegedly pulled on her own monarch. The National Theatre. As part of her arts patronage role, Meghan was scheduled to attend a meeting at the National Theatre's Dorfman space. But before the visit, Queen Elizabeth requested to speak with Meghan first. Not asked, not suggested. The Queen requested it. Meghan allegedly ignored the request entirely and headed to the theater anyway. There was just one problem. The Queen had already canceled the meeting. So when Meghan arrived, she was informed there was no event, no meeting, and no role for her there that day. Security stepped in and escorted her away, instructing her to return to Buckingham Palace instead. What made the moment even more uncomfortable was that Meghan appeared hyper-aware of the cameras outside the venue, notably showing up without her ring, which many interpreted as a pointed message aimed at Harry. If that read was accurate, the situation wasn't just embarrassing. It was calculated embarrassment. Ignoring a direct request from the Queen wasn't a small miscalculation. It didn't matter where you stood on Meghan personally. That was the monarch, Harry's grandmother, the head of the institution that gave Meghan every title, every platform, and every red carpet she'd ever walked. When she called, you went. And Meghan reportedly learned the hard way that in the royal world, you don't outrank the Queen, ever. And the palace had plenty of ways to remind her of that, each one more public than the last. The second row. Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee celebrated 70 years of duty and dignity. The guest list, the seating chart, and the balcony lineup were all curated with surgical precision. Meghan and Harry were very quietly, very deliberately, downgraded to irrelevance. No balcony appearance, no front row honor, no senior royal treatment. They were seated away from the core family and visibly separated from William and Catherine. This wasn't a logistical oversight. The palace choreographed these events down to the centimeter. Every seat assignment carried a message, and theirs read, "You don't work here anymore." Titles didn't override hierarchy. Cameras didn't override tradition. For a couple that fed on visibility, the demotion was surgical. She arrived expecting relevance and left with a lesson in royal ranking that no outfit, no PR team, and no Netflix deal could dress up. The palace didn't need to escort her out of the Jubilee. They just made sure the whole world saw exactly where she ranked, and the silence from that second row was the loudest sound of all. But what do you think? Which of these awkward, caught-on-camera moments truly cemented the cringe for you? Drop your takes in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed to the Star Report yet, what are you waiting for?